ringside at Yankee Stadium where the New York...
Joe tried to the left, he right, the head both punches, misses, Jack drops it. So he charges across the ring. He lands a terrific left reverse with his body against the rope and takes a terrific right and a knockdown. Josh is now 2-3.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the opening range. My name is Jim Cagnina with NinjaTrader. It is September 28th. Appreciate everybody being here. First to chime in, special shout out, Paulie. Paulie, thank you. It's good seeing you here. Appreciate you being here. Before we go too far, let me remind everybody, trading futures, options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility. Although that could be an equation for opportunity, it's also an equation for risk. So be careful, only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. My personal definition, money I can afford to lose, doesn't change my lifestyle, doesn't lengthen my retirement horizon, and doesn't overly stress me out. Easy on the day trade margins. Usually it's a bad equation in my humble experience. To max out on those day trade margins, you get plenty of leverage as it is trading futures without maxing those things out. And risk capital only, we already talked about that. Trade on a real-time simulated live NinjaTrader trading platform today. None of this should be construed as trade or investment advice. Feel free to type in any comments, questions, observations you might have. Also, if you're on the YouTube channel, remember, chat's disabled there. The chat is migrated over to the website, and that is at ninjatrader.com/events. It's easy to remember, ninjatrader.com/events if you want to participate in the chat. If not, you want to stay with YouTube, that's cool as well. And I appreciate the thumbs up. Appreciate everybody being here today. Oh, boy. What a day. I guess here's the weekly chart. We had a whole bunch of stuff going on what I dubbed this week is called Fed Palooza, right? All these Fed folks are out there giving speeches and talks and interviews all over the place. Here's the weekly chart and the E-mini S&P 500. Not much change since yesterday. We dipped into my rectangle here, our rectangle here, right? We're making new lows as we speak today and yesterday, this week rather. And this is, again, bearish. My long-term prospects right here are bearish until we have an area of support that actually becomes meaningful, right? I don't think it's meaningful right now. I'm gonna have to adjust my fib line again a little bit lower if I want to, which I do want to. I have an extension line over here on a weekly, 33.79. I think the extension line will be a little bit more meaningful when we look at the daily chart. We're not quite there yet, but we're going to look at the daily chart in a second. So in any event, we're all the way back down to, let's track this low wick right here. Just Christmas, right around the week of Christmas a couple of years ago. So all of 2021 gains have been wiped out. 2021 gains have been wiped out. This is pretty much 2022 from the peak here, because this was the big first week of January. In any event, interesting chart. There's a whole bunch of economic releases already released, and then some other ones that, well, actually, mostly it's just Fed speakers from here on out. But let's talk about what happened already from an economic release point of view. MBE mortgage applications, 7 a.m. It doesn't merit a green star, but I like to look at it. The trend is down as you would assume, right? As you would think. Composite index actual week over week was minus 3.7%. Previous was positive 3.8%. Now, when you kind of fine tune into the details, purchase index actual minus 0.4%. Previous last week was 1.0%. And then the refinance index, which shouldn't surprise anybody, actual was minus 10.9%. Previous, though, was positive 10.4%. Overall, though, if you track the percentages, this is a negative trending marketplace, right? With interest rates, rising. If you have bad credit, you're paying over 7%, or if average credit even, you're paying over 7%. Otherwise, you're in the sixes. So it's a tough pill to swallow, especially with respect to refinancing. So that part of the U.S. economy is definitely slowing down. We'll see if it shows up in actual home prices, so everybody just stays pat and decides not to sell, not to move. We're staying where we're staying. Folks with those low interest rates are definitely going to stay where they're staying, in my humble opinion. Now, international trade in goods was another one that was out at 8:30. This is a big deal. And the balance, the actual balance was minus 87.3 billion. and forecast was minus 88.7 billion. So, a 1.4 billion less negative, which is a good thing, right? This is a positive thing. There's the import export equation is less negative. Imports were minus 1.7% previous. Revised was minus 2.9%. Exports minus 9% previous. Revised 3%. So that's all. I'm going to chalk that into the good column. So that's a less negative number with respect to that import-export tug of war that happens. And me and Tom were talking earlier this morning, and it was like, let's skip. I'm going to talk about that more when we get to a chart. Let's move over to the retail wholesale inventories, which is also what me and Tom were talking about this morning, where wholesale inventories month over month actual was 1.3%, and previous was 0.6, forecast was 0.4, right? So wholesale inventories ticked up. Retail inventories also ticked up month over month, actual 1.4, previous 1.1. And the question to you guys is, well, is this because there's still a supply chain problem, right? We're not getting stuff out of the wholesale inventory bucket, I'll call it, and then we're not getting stuff out of the retail inventory bucket, I'll call it, or are folks starting to spend less money? Is just a backlog because people are buying less stuff. Hard to say. I'll leave it up to you guys to figure that one out. But again, those numbers came out kind of interesting to me, and I don't know if it moved the needle or not. We'll take a look at some of the charts in a second. But pending home sales is also at 10 o'clock. EIA Petroleum Status Report, 10:30. Hopefully, we're going to be talking about that with Bobby Iacchino here at 10:30. He's in the eye of the storm right now in southern Florida. I haven't got a text message from him saying I lost my power. So he's good to go. We can talk about energies and how this hurricane affects energies as well. Survey of business uncertainty at Atlanta Fed is at 11. Now we have everybody that I could think of scheduled to talk, and then there's probably going to be some unscheduled. Bostic is already going at it. Bullard at 10:10. Powell 10:15. So we got to remember that. Like, all right, I don't know if I want to put a trade on it at 10:14. If Powell's actually going to be speaking somewhere. Bowman 11 o'clock, and then Evans at 2 o'clock. So that's what's up. That's what we're up against. There's a lot of stuff here. Make sure you have your stops in best practices for sure. Let's take a look at some daily charts really quick, or maybe not really quick. I don't know. We could take our time. I got a few days before the hurricane gets here. Here's again the daily chart, and we're in the rectangle right now. We had a turnaround today for some reason, right? We had a really low wick. Really low lick. We were in negative territory, just cruising along my trend line, merrily moving down toward the 23.6% extension at 34.93. If you want, you could round it up to 3,500. I won't tell anybody. That's okay. But buyers came in and pushed us back up. Maybe it's part of this economic news that we just got. Nothing in Europe is very good. I mean, we'll talk about what happened in Great Britain, Bank of England. Earlier this morning was kind of shocking. They're kind of reversing their course here on QT by purchasing what they're doing. But in any event, we'll dig into that a little bit later. We got GDP second quarter, third estimate. Shouldn't be too much of a surprise from the second estimate, but you never know. And then CPI is the big one, right? And I'm anticipating this big time. This is coming up in 2.5 weeks. Consumer Price Index. So trend is down. We did have buyers come back in. We pierced my rectangle. I'm leaving the rectangle exactly how it is right now. I want to see it close below it before I start moving it down, just to give me kind of a sense of perspective, right? Every time Powell says something, every time, a big key inflation number comes out, this thing breaks even further. And guess what? Powell's supposed to talk today. So be careful. I'm not saying that this guy is, the kiss of death, but you have to really be careful here. NASI is holding its double bottom, by the way. Nasdaq 235. I'm going to put my crosshairs right at the bottom of that rectangle right there. It's holding pretty tight. Trend is still down. Buyers came in, same systematic pattern as on the S&P for today, with the big wick at the bottom of that hammer looking like doji. Russell 2000 stock index futures, same thing, bumping up against that double bottom so far, so good. Looking real similar to the Nasdaq. We'll see what happens. I got extension numbers here. We got targets on the top, targets on the bottom. Long way away, but anything could happen on any given Sunday. Here is the E-mini Dow futures. Again, this is weak. We're way below the double bottom. We blew through it a few sessions ago, and now we have the same kind of systematic price action going on. But this is looking weak. My fib line is no longer any darn good. I'm going to have to keep moving it around. From an extension point of view, I'm going to play around with this. I'm not sure my extension is where I want it to be. Again, there's no bottom, right? It just keeps making new bottoms every day. So you got to keep tweaking that extension. I don't like that. All right, we covered a lot of ground already. Let's go ahead and take a quick 30-second break.
You deserve full market transparency. You deserve the flexibility to trade on your own schedule. You deserve access to professional futures trading tools. NinjaTrader, because you deserve more. Start trading futures at NinjaTrader.com. Capture the excitement and opportunity of crypto trading in a secure and highly regulated marketplace. Meet cryptocurrency futures. Go long, go short, you decide. Start trading futures at NinjaTrader.com.
All right. All right, we are back. Who's with me today? Bill 61. Thank you for being here. Good seeing you. M. Bartlett, same to you. Tim Marco. Everd, thank you for being here. For Money is here. Pops, Mom and Dad Kicks, good to see you as usual. Raleigh is here as well. Elizabeth, Mario, Greg, Atlanta is here. Crito is with us today. Alaka and Chris. Thanks, folks, for being here. Greatly appreciate it. If I missed your name, I apologize for that. But I do appreciate you guys spending time with me here this morning. Chris says, is there an indicator you use to populate your news pointers? So all I did here, Chris, this isn't, I just used the text tool, right? I just added the text, positioned it to where I wanted it to, and then I used an arrow, and I just formatted the arrow to make them look like dots. This was all manual labor. There was no automatic like click and go. But then again, what else do I have to do? Hopefully that helps. Real simple, just drawing tools. That's all. Let's go over to gold. Gold is trying to fight back here, and we'll take a look at what the dollar is doing right now with relationship to the major currency crosses right now. But gold is looking pretty positive. Buyers are coming in. Is this a bottom? I don't know. It could be. It could be. Is this a reversal pattern? Nothing so obvious to me as a major reversal pattern. You know, the MACD at the bottom is just sitting there at 0 right now. Where's my rectangle at? I'm going to draw a rectangle. I changed the color. Mission Control got mad at me for having this other color up here. And so I'm going to delete that. And on the fly, we're going to make Mission Control happy by doing this just like that. Dark blue. Maybe it's easier for everybody to see. So again, long way away from any kind of significant retracement here in gold. We're still trading in the middle of the 1600s, by the way. Right between 17 and 1699 and 1601, right in the middle, right there. Again, though, it's looking positive. It looks like buyers are coming in on gold today. Crude oil, same thing. This is real similar pattern to gold, actually, right? We have a bottom here. I'll draw a rectangle just to kind of make everybody comfortable and help me with my visual kind of visualization of the marketplace. We do have that X marks a lower swing low, lower swing low, lower swing low, lower swing low, trend down. Again, though, I'm going to be a little bit cautious here. We didn't hit my target. We didn't hit my extension target right now, and we're a long way away from a 23.6% retracement. I can visually tell you that right now. So we're going to be patient and wait to see if we get back to the previous highs, which is right here, 80.73. And again, we're with Bobby Iacchino today talking about all things energies. It's going to be a really interesting show. Gasoline futures is tracking with crude pretty much downward trend as well. Nat gas, downward trend as well. And this is, again, it's a combination. I think my research suggests this is a combination sell-off between going into the fall here in the U.S., and maybe less demand, right? I think it might be a combination of the two. We'll see. I don't know. Moving average cross is arcing down right here. Area of congestion that me and Tom identified earlier. We're right up against it right now. Would not be a buyer for nat gas today. Euro, looking for places to sell. A lot of drama happened in the Bank of England. This is the euro, though. So we'll talk about the British pound in a second. British pound sterling. The Euro FX currencies right now, again, looking for places to sell. This is looking pretty negative. The tough trick here is, where do you start your extensions, right? Where do you start your extensions to try to get targets on the downside. And it's really rough, especially when everything is just looking like this chart. We are officially open here in the regular trading hours, the New York Stock Exchange. We'll get to a daily chart in a second. So again, though, I mean, just simply put, I'm looking for places to sell here. Trend is down. I'm bearish in the pound. Micro Bitcoin area support. This is held for a long period of time. 18,445. If you're trading Bitcoin, we're bouncing off it. And the trade idea, of course, is trying to buy the bottom, trying to buy the area of what I'm going to call support, and trying to sell a fib line, right? Trying to sell the Fibonacci retracement level. Yesterday would have been a really nice short, by the way. Didn't do it, but today we're kind of unchanged. We're kind of back to where we started from yesterday, where we closed. Let's go over to the British pound now. British pound, again, target wick is definitely in play, right? And I'm not sure what's really going on in England right now with their monetary policy. There seems to be a little bit of a turnaround from QT back to QE. The Prime Minister's cutting taxes, and now they're purchasing the long end, the long duration gilt. Kind of reverting back to the old days. So I'm not sure what's up there and if it's going to stabilize this currency market. Again, looking for places to sell again in the British pound. I think there's some downside. Parity is probably not an option, probably not realistic, but you never know. We're in interesting times. Yen is just bouncing off, trying to make, again, I'm going to move this down a little bit. Again, we're just bumping off this area of support for the yen. Things have been going sideways for a long period of time. I'm not interested in buying until we see a trend up, right? Trend is your friend. I want to wait for that trend. I don't see it. I don't see it brewing at all right now. And dollar index, remember, this is delayed. We're getting into Carlos's 115 to 120 zone. We're almost there. We're getting there. This target extension got hit pretty nicely, by the way, for not only today, but yesterday and the day before. If you see that high wick, it's amazing how that technical analysis works. Let's keep moving. Copper futures. Again, we're target wick I have down here right at the bottom. We're getting close to 3.1305. Right down here at the bottom. I'm going to draw a ellipse around this target. Again, looking for places to sell copper. Maybe this is going to be a phenomenon where things are really slowing down. We don't know what's going on in China. We think we know what's going on in China. I don't know. 2-year yields breaking bad. This is probably a good thing for that part of the yield curve. This is just a 2-year yield. This is the CME Group micro 2-year yield. It's tradable, right? If you don't want to trade the price, you could trade the inverse, which is the yield. It's a super slick contract. I'm glad they put it out there. And this is the 2-year. This is what everyone's worried about with respect to inversion of the yield curve. All right, said all that. Let's see what long lumber's doing. Just kind of sitting around here again. Not interested in buying lumber this particular time of the day. Let's kind of move it over. Take a look at some of these 10-minute charts. Yeah, I mess with my colors. I'm trying to make Mission Control happy. This is the E-mini S&P market we're taking a peek at right now. We're in that first 10-minute candle. We're trying to develop an opening range right now. And, it's pretty much unchanged from yesterday if you just look at the quote board, right? Up 2.5. That's unchanged, really, when you think about it. We've had extraordinarily large moves in these equity markets ever since last Thanksgiving. We're almost to a year now where we've had these things that are unique. I mean, it's just a unique environment. And that's why when I say micros are friends, they are, especially if you're new to trading. It's a great way to jump in, right? Get on the NinjaTrader trading platform in sim mode, learn how it all works, maybe practice some trade ideas. And then, maybe your next step, if you're ready to go forward and you have the risk capital, maybe your next step is you fund a little account and you practice with the micros, right? And you kind of start developing your muscle memory and your strategies. And it gives you an ability, by the way, by doing that, to kind of start small and then scale up later if you want to, right? So again, micros are friends. I'm a super fan. That's kind of the path I would suggest for newbies, right? Not even newbies, anybody, to be honest with you. All right, so this first candle here, we're getting a little bit of a negative drag here. We had this break started last night. I don't know what time that is. I got a -12 from that, 10 o'clock at night. We just had things start breaking down, point of control established pretty low. And we traded around this point of control for a long period of time. right? So look at all these candles all the way up till last time we traded there wasn't too long ago, 8 o'clock, right? 750 to 8 o'clock bar, we traded there. So a lot of action down here, a lot of price happiness right there. Yeah, we have a competing point of control possibly brewing up here right around 36.64, but we got to get some buyers back in the market to achieve that. Yesterday's point of control, I extended it all the way across. And I'm going to emphasize that less today, right? Less today, because all the Fed speakers are out there, and this is going to become kind of volatile potentially, depending on what they say. Maybe they're going to read from the same script. Probably not. Just saying, these folks have a mind of their own, right? These folks have a mind of their own, whether you're Bullard or Bostic or Daly or whoever you are. They have their own opinions, right? And that's why there's a vote at the FOMC level. It's not just, this is what we're doing. Chairman Powell just doesn't hit the hammer and say, this is what we're doing. There's a vote. There's consensus that needs to be gained and the coalitions that need to be made, just like any type of board, right? Political board, even though it's technically not a political board, but it is a political board. Just thought I'd throw that out. Anyway, waiting, hanging tight here. See which direction we have. There's potential. Pivot is held nicely, right? Here's the pivot right up here, 77.75. That is held pretty nice. S1 is pretty far down. We traded below S1 earlier today. And again, this could be a target area as well on the downside, S1. I'm going to keep my eye on S1, and I'm going to start drawing rectangles here as well. The very first one I'm going to do is, hey, where's the most recent? Look at that blue, Jason. It's looking good. Where's the most recent area of support, right? And I'm talking short term, right? We're talking from 6:20 in the morning pre-market till now. And I drew my rectangle. So the top of the rectangle is touching the bottom of the lowest body of a candle in recent times, ever since then. So this is my area. This is that, and it's right by that point of control. This is my area of support. So one might say, well, if I think I want to go short, I want to sell a contract here, which you can do in futures very easily. You don't have to have any special magical type of an account. You just do it. And this would be a target in my mind, right? Because you have the point of control right there. You have the top of the rectangle right there. You have yesterday's low right there. That's that red line. So there's a lot of areas of interest all tangled up together right here at this 36, 37 level. And for me, that's a target right now. But I'm going to stick to my plan. My plan is don't make any drastic moves until we're at least into the second 10-minute candle. So I'm not going to just hit the panic button right now and start selling. Real similar position here. S1 held really nicely here on the Nasdaq. This is the Nasdaq 100. I have the micro contract up. I'm going to do the exact same technique. I'm going to identify where that area of support is. It's right there, right by the S1, right by the VWAP band. This is the first standard deviation, lower standard deviation band for volume weighted average price. And there's that point of control. Really nice target. By the way, here's yesterday's point of control. They're pretty close. So today and yesterday's point of control so far are pretty close, suggesting maybe we have a sideways market today. I don't know. We'll keep our eye on that. Dow is doing Dow stuff. That's all I could say. Dow is doing Dow stuff. But again, pretty similar. Again, I could draw the exact same rectangle here as well, showing the area of support. And I'm going to do that right here, right now. And I'm going to suggest, again, that's a target right now until something changes. These first 10-minute candles, right? We're establishing our opening range. These first 10-minute candles are important, right? And oftentimes the second 10-minute candle is an equal and opposite reversal candle. So, this is looking negative right now, but my hands are in my pockets right now. They're not really, they're on the mouse, but they're getting close. I'm sitting on them right now. Russell actually is looking stronger, right? Pivot's pretty high. Pivot did not hold. Pivot's pretty high. I got to fix my colors again because I like this. By the way, let's go back here for a second. This is the new color convention for me. Hopefully you could see the shaded area between this first and second upper band of the standard deviation for the VWAP, and then the lower first and second standard deviation for the BWAP. I have those colored kind of a tan color. I'm hoping that is going to come out. If you can't see it on your screen, just type in, no, I don't like that color. Or, yeah, I like that color. Or keep it rolling. Or what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I got to fill them in here as well. I haven't done that yet. Anyway, trading above a pivot here. This is looking pretty strong so far, and this candle is looking a little bit different. This opening range candle is looking a little different than the other stock index futures. So let's keep that in mind as we go forward here and take a look again at the Russell. Gold's got a bid right now. People are buying gold right now, but again, still at that 1651 mark. Not interested in going short gold right now. The trend's pretty strong today. And remember, a lot of times intraday, the trend is going to be different than your longer term trend, right? I think we're kind of I'm bearish here in gold overall, but right now, until I see that area of resistance really get firm, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in going short. I need that confirmation. I need it. So I'm going to wait here. I'm going to draw a rectangle. R2 is pretty far away. And we're going to be patient and wait. R1 again got, we had one candle worth of resistance, and then boom, we shot right through it pretty substantively. Crude oil again, looking a little better from the short side actually on crude oil. Now there's an inventory report coming out. And the other thing to keep in mind, and we're going to learn about this today at 10:30, what does, there's a hurricane, right? Everyone knows a hurricane hit Florida. It's going to come through Florida and probably sweep its way up a little bit anyway to the East Coast, right? And so it's going to cause some problems. And what I want to know is what's going to happen with all the ports, right? There's a port in Jacksonville, there's a port in Savannah, there's a port in Charleston. How does that slow everything down with respect to the energy market? And I think we're going to get a good perspective from Bobby Iacchino at 10:30 today to see the future show. Hopefully you could make it. So let's put a fib line here as well, because I'm going to probably try to get a crude oil trade in right now. Tracement, I'm going to go high to low, right? We started way down here and go all the way back up. I'm going to paint this where we're at 23.6%. We've already a really nice area of interest, top of the value area, R1. All of these things are converging, right? All of these things are converging. So I'm going to do it. This is a micro crude. We're going to throw in a 2-unit, right? Where all those prices are converging right now. And, we'll call it 79.44. Let's take a peek and just kind of see where it's positioned here. So I want to be right at the top of the value area. So I'm going to throw it right there. Again, R1, top of the value area, 23.6. I think it's significant. And it's off the highs, right? We're cruising down here. So from a stop point of view, I'm going to use my rectangle that I drew earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and put my stop toward the top, make a 2-unit stop, because I have I'm trying to get 2 contracts. I'm trying to sell 2 contracts. We'll be patient, wait, and see if we get the fill. Sometimes we do, sometimes we do not. All right. Other than that, let's take a look at the euro, see what that's doing. Mr. Euro, a lot of wicks here, a lot of uncertainty. Look at these wicks. I want to talk about this because this is important. The euro itself, this is the 6E is the symbol. This is the euro US dollar cross. We have 175,000 contracts traded already. That's pretty good. That's good volume. That's really good volume. But look at all of these wicks, starting pretty much from 3 o'clock in the morning, are really big. I mean, look at this candle. That's a crazy looking candle, right? We had buyers bring this thing all the way back up to 96.59 almost, and then to 96.59, and then sellers brought it back down. So there's a lot of uncertainty. These wicks are telling me there's a lot of uncertainty here on what we should do in this particular euro market right now, which could mean there could be some opportunities here as well. I'm going to draw a rectangle again and try to identify area resistance so far. Now, the pivot's pretty far away. S1 is pretty close. Trend is up. CCI is positive over 100. Moving average cross looks like it's separating. So right now, I'm definitely not looking for a place to sell. This is looking strong. I'm going to be patient and kind of wait for a retracement here before I try to leap back in, or waiting for an area of resistance to materialize, right? It's not there yet. Not interested in selling the euro. No way, no how. Let's go back to the ES. Here's that equal and opposite candle I'm talking about, right? It happens all the time. Not always, but a lot of the time, right? Big sell-off in the first 10 minutes, right? And then a big move back up. It's going to be an equal and opposite at this rate. No, I don't know. I can't predict the future, but equal and opposite is where the body of the candles are the same size, but different color. Right. And that's, again, a potential trend reversal or trend confirmation type of move. CCI is only 65, so it's a little bit muted right now. Pivot's held pretty good. I am going to draw another rectangle up here at the top just to help me a little bit see where the true area of resistance is. And we're peeking our head in it right now. We're popping in it right now. Again, not ready to leap into action because I don't know. You know, we're up 10 on the ES. Trend is down long-term, monthly chart, weekly chart, daily chart. 10-minute chart. Oh, we have a fight now. We're trying to move up. I'm going to draw a fib line now. It might be a little premature, but I'm going to do that fib line low to high because that's what the recent trend is. We're going to go Fibonacci retracement. I'm going to tap it on the low, and I'm going to drag it up, and I'm going to tap it to the high, and that's where we're at right now, right here, right now, right at that 23.6% retracement. We broke all the way back down. You know, wicks matter, right? Wicks matter to a kind of a lower volume area. If you look at the volume profile, a little bit of a volume node right here where we ended up, right? So this was kind of market weakness, not relatively speaking, less volume is traded in these little nodes than in the peaks, right? That's just, you know, that's math. That's straight up math. Right now it's looking kind of strong. At 23.6 is looking like a good area of interest. It's right by the point of control. The point of control just shifted up, as a matter of fact, which makes this even a better trade idea. So again, you got to be patient though, because the stop is going to have to be below. The stop is going to have to be below the opening range that we already set, right? And there's the VWAP right there. There's all sorts of things that coming together here. Yesterday's point of control, the 50% retracement. So I would err on the side of patience right now, right? I want to see if I can get a little bit dip back down to that 38.2%. I'm going to try to go long, and then my stop is going to be pretty tight. My stop is going to be relatively tight here. We break on through this VWAP. We break on through that 50% retracement. Then I want to get out. Now, I don't want to actually go all the way down to the 61.8%. That's just too much heat for me. So I'm going to be in the middle between 650 and 61. If this were a micro trade on the same size account, I'd probably do a little bit of, I'd give myself more room on the downside. That's just me. That's just me. Ankle Booble comes in with Apple lowered phone delivery by 6 million, still targeting the same as last year's numbers. Yeah, I saw that this morning also, Ankle Booble. Thank you for that. And that's a really good measure of what's going on, right? Apple, but a lot of that also is, I think 40% of that, if my memory serves me correct, and a lot of times it doesn't, by the way, you start getting older and your memory is a little bit kind of what you want it to be. But as I recall this morning, it was something like 40% of those phone sales are in Europe and in China, right? So that kind of it tells the story of domestically what's happening here in the U.S., but also globally what is happening. So that's a really good statistic, Ankle Boo-Boo, and that's really thank you for reminding me to talk about that. Because that's truly an international phenomenon, right? iPhones are all over the place. Oh boy. So we're kind of stalling right now. We have 900,000 traded already. We're well on track to be way over 2 million on volume again today. A lot of jockeying going on. If we start closing closer to the pivot on this candle, then this trade idea, I'm going to stop it and I'm going to reset my thought process, right? I didn't get that sideways action that I thought. We have that equal and opposite candle right now that's in play. Now we have a minute and we're going to stick here. We're going to stay tuned on this channel right here. We're not going to channel surf for a second. I want to kind of look to see what happens here with this candle. It's a very interesting candle, and we'll see if it could hold the water for the rest of the stock index futures in a minute and 3 seconds. Critical candle as we go forward here. Hopefully, if you're in Florida or down south, you're taking all measures to protect yourself. This is my first, and I'm kind of on the outskirts. It shouldn't be that bad. I'm just going to get a bunch of wind and rain in the back, probably pools of water in the backyard. But keep in mind, be safety first, folks. Safety first. As we're trying to kick it in here, into my rectangle right now. I'm not going to move it yet. We have 31 seconds left to see if this candle could actually push up to the pivot right? That'll be an interesting level. Will the pivot hold, right? Is this where we're going to get resistance at the pivot? We're not rocketing to new highs, right? We're not rocketing to high. We're just tapping it. We're slow tracking this thing, and it's trying to break through. But I think this is looking like it's losing its mojo. Now, this next candle, maybe something will pick up here. It's 3 seconds left here. The rectangle's held so far, and that's where we're at. Next candle, do we have continuation buying or not? If you're super aggressive, there's that 23.6% in the value area and the point of control right there where we're at, right? One could argue, well, let's just sell on a stop and try to get to your target, Jim, and make your target 2 contracts. That's a thing. That's an idea. We didn't close up there, but we have continuation buying going on right now. So this trade idea, I'm going to rethink probably in a couple seconds here. Let's just see as that point of control gets pushed up. Remember, the point of control and the value area are dynamic, right? They move around. As volume is generated. It's just one standard deviation worth of volume. It's an easy calculation. And that's all it is. And it's real time. This is a real time simulated live NinjaTrader trading account. So the data is real time and you can see it go and go and go. All right. So in this particular point in time, I'm not interested in this trade anymore. I'm out. We're going to wait. Let's take a look at that Russell though, because remember that was acting different than everybody else. In the Russell, we have a true target here. We have R1, which I like. Top of the value area would be an entry. Point of control would be an exit. I don't know. We might have missed it, but I like this. I think this is kind of, we're driving toward that level right now. Again, I don't even have a fib line in because it doesn't make any sense to have a fib line in because we're at the top, right? We're at the top. Let's see if we get a little bit of reprieve back down to the bottom of the value, top of the value area rather. And then again, stop is going to be right at the pivot, right by the second area of interest also is the point of control. And so we're going to go ahead and throw that in here just to see if we can get a little bit of love. And then again, we have yesterday's high up here as well. So this is a good target right above R1 as this thing's moving. It's looking strong. So that would be where the sell limit is. I can't put it in until I get filled if I get filled. Crude oil is all over the place. Micro crude, let's just kind of look at that trade idea and see where is it. Micro crude right now, short 2, kind of sideways right around the point of control, competing point of control right at R1. R1's doing its best, but look at how many times it's traded through R1, right? Every candle but 3 since 810 to 820. That's a lot of trading around the R1. It's acting less like resistance, more like a pivot or more like a point of control type of area, which is it's pretty close to becoming anyway. So again, interesting phenomenon here. I have to put some targets in though, right? Haven't done that yet. So ideally, I want to get 1 unit off the table, right? If in fact, unless we get stopped out, then I get no units off the table. But I want to get 1 unit off the table and then move my stop to break even. And I'm going to, again, use my rectangle technique. I'm going to measure. This is kind of a measured move here, right? The bottom of this wick, double it. And that's my target right now. I'm going to throw it in for 1 unit. Again, if we're lucky enough to get it, then we're going to go ahead and move our stop to break even and see if we could drive lower. I'm not freaking out until we get to the top of the rectangle, by the way. Now, the stop is pretty liberal, right? It's pretty liberal. You could certainly tighten it up to get closer to that, the target wick up here. But we'll see. We'll see how it progresses. I'm going to leave well enough alone. Let's go back to the Russell. There's, yeah, we're driving toward that R1 right now, folks. Looking pretty strong right now in the Russell 2000. I'm not going to abandon the entry. I'm going to keep it tight right now and kind of wait and see what happens here with this candle. We got 6 minutes and 17 seconds left before the 10 o'clock candle. Remember, we have pending home sales, 10 o'clock. I don't know if that's going to move the needle at all. We have at 10:10 Bullard speaking, 10:15 we have Powell speaking. So I am going to respect that, right? So I want to think about that. We got 26 minutes left between now and when Powell speaks. So I want to kind of get it. I want it, if I want in in a hurry, right? And then I want to have an exit strategy in 15 minutes because who knows what he's going to say, right? And hopefully the first 5 minutes of that is just, hi, my name is Jerome Powell. Nice to meet you. So it could buy us a couple more minutes. But once he starts speaking, who knows what's going to happen. If my calendar of events is even correct. I mean, last time he spoke in France, And he was talking about cybersecurity the whole time. Didn't even mention any of the stuff going on here. So you never know, but it's better to be cautious here. Let's kind of wait for a little bit of a pullback. I'm going to draw my fib line now anyway, just to see where we're at with respect to entries and exits on fib lines right here with the Russell. Looking pretty darn strong. So we're above the 23.6. Let's ponder that for a second. Should I be more patient and wait for that 23.6? Look where my stop is. My stop's at 31.2. Now, if we do have a retracement back down, this is an aggressive play. This is a pretty aggressive play. So the alternative would be, hey, I want to wait for that 23.6%, and then I want to enter, right? And then I want to enter, and then I pull my stop back down to the 50%, right? I'm totally using fibs because it makes sense with respect to where the point of control is, where the pivot is. All that stuff is kind of playing in my favor. So right now we have an aggressive trade idea. This is an aggressive trade idea. We really don't have a rectangle, an area of support, because we have this potential area with these two candles here. Then we have three candles up here at the point of control. You could argue is pretty good area of support. Hard to say. 4 minutes 12 seconds left. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Again, crude oil is all over the place now. Now we're only down 28 unrealized P&L, right? This is moving around, and this is kind of, if you're new here, if you're new to this type of trading, when you have an open position, you're going to have unrealized P&L, right? Because you're not flat. You still have an open position, and all this unrealized P&L is saying is, hey, if you close your position at the market price, then this is how much money you're going to make or lose, right? From a gross P&L point of view, right? And you can see it's moving around because every tick, it's a different mathematical outcome, right? So this is volatile. It's moving around, not that much, $16 right now. It's kind of, now it's zero. We just kind of, now it's $6. So it's $8. It's kind of moving around a little bit, but that's what unrealized is. It's not complicated. Once you go ahead and get out, right now we're short 2 contracts. We sold 2 contracts at an average price of $79.42, and we buy them back. Then this is no longer going to be unrealized. It will be realized. It's in the bank. It's done. It's over. You can make another trade. Whew. 2 minutes and 55 seconds left. By the way, I do want to remind everybody, a lot of leverage, a lot of volatility, a lot of opportunity, a lot of risk, easy on the day trade margins, and risk capital, trading on real-time sim account. None of this should be construed as trade or investment advice. Do want to remind everybody, by the way, thank you for the thumbs up on YouTube. If you're new to YouTube, you could participate in the chat on the website, and the website is NinjaTrader.com/events. I'm going to pull up the CME Group Fed Funds tool right now, so we could take a peek at what the prediction is for upcoming interest rates for the Fed funds. Anyway, pull it over here. We have 35 days, 4 hours, 2 minutes. This is interesting. Right now, our current target rate is 300 to 325 basis points. And we've seen a huge shift here, right? So it's a 51% chance we're going 50 basis point hike, according to this chart, 350 to 375. This was much lower. This was like 20% a couple of days ago. We have less than 50% that we're going to go 75 basis points. That is fascinating to me, how this has changed so quickly. Let's go to the probabilities table. And it could be because a lot of the Fed folks are saying terminal rate's going to be 425 to 450, across the board. I think we have Tom's coming up with some better stats than me just saying a lot of the Fed folks are talking about 425 to 450, but he's putting together some info on this so we can see where they all stand for the end of the year. And so this has changed a little bit. This is a little bit more dovish, just a little bit more dovish. Is there a relationship between this paradigm change and asset prices? Heck yeah. Heck yeah, there is, for sure. Interest rates is the whole game, folks, right now. And interesting change in the Fed funds tool, but 35 days, 4 hours, 0 minutes, 44 seconds to go. Long, long, long way to go here. All right, let me kind of move this over a little bit. Getting close to our target. Again, we're getting to this point where I don't know if I want to get a fill, right? Because we're, again, 15 minutes from Powell. speaking, but I'm not going to be too afraid of that just yet. We're still 4 points away from getting a fill. I think the axis is fooling everybody, fooling me. Let's just stretch it out a little bit so you can see how far it really is, right? It's pretty far. Here's the market, that black label right there. You can see that green candle driving up again. This is looking pretty bullish, folks, right here, right now. I got to rethink everything, right? With that Fed funds tool shifting the way it is, and we're trying to break up, but really, really tough, really, really tough. Let's take a look at the Russell daily chart just to kind of get another perspective. And is this good thinking or is this crazy talk? Let's go over to the Russell. I didn't really want to show that on here, but let's just switch it over. Again, we have a bottom in 1645. You know, the next area of interest, unfortunately, is pretty far away, 1739. One could use their imagination and draw another horizontal line. I'll do it real quickly here. From this area of support that we had way back when, right? This was a nice area of support we had from starting on June 24th, going, you know, pretty much framing the conversation until the middle of July, and then we rallied and came back down. So that's, you know, I'm getting a little desperate by putting that line up, but it's giving me some numbers, right? It's giving me another area of interest. You know, I'm going to call it a minor area of interest right now, and that price was at 1705. Support becomes resistance. Resistance becomes support. It happens all the time. Russell's really, really strong right now on this 10 o'clock hour. At this point, R1's going to be achieved. Trade idea didn't work. Was too patient. I don't think there's a thing too patient, by the way. There's going to be another opportunity today. There's going to be a bunch of other opportunities today. And if not, there'll be opportunities tomorrow. You know, we talked about this yesterday. The best trade I ever made, that I never made was the best trade that I ever made was the trade I never made, or something like that. I can't remember what the quote was. It's on the NinjaTrader Twitter machine. You can see it live there. In any event, yeah, R1 is a true prophecy. Let's go over to the E-mini S&P right now, take a peek. Troy, thank you for that comment. Very kind of you. Thank you for being here. More importantly, it's more important that you're here than I'm here, but thank you for being here. So you're asking about the order flow volume tools, right? Volume profile, order flow, volume weighted average price. Those are different than the pivots. The daily pivots are standard out of the box. Any level of software that you have will be there. For the order flow tools, so the order flow volume profile and the order flow VWAP, you need to have the order flow version of the software. So just reach out to ninjatrader.com, folks, and say, hey, how do I get the order flow version? And they'll help you. Okay, so that's why you might not see it if you don't have that version. So great question, though. And I like it because Troy's thinking. He's like, wait a second, I want this. I don't see it here. How do I get it? Thank you for that, Troy. Carla says Apple heading toward 140 area, and if 133.70, perhaps another test of 131 to 121 monthly area is coming. Huh. Well, there was, Carlos, thanks for that. There's a time when buying dips in Apple was the cool thing to do, right? It was the chic thing to do, and it might still be the chic thing to do. I don't know. You know, everyone's got Apple stuff, pretty much. Is there an end to it? I don't know. Probably not. So I like that. That's an opportunity, folks, by the way, I think. Thanks. That's, again, my opinion. Thank you for that, Carlos. Yeah, Apple's struggling in the 140s right now, right? 142 this morning, I think, maybe 143. I can't remember exactly when I looked at it. R1 didn't get hit yet here, folks. Let's take a look at the E-mini S&P here as the clock is winding down as well. This is really, really a good lesson here. Lesson learned right here. Let's just open this up. We're in this rectangle that I drew, this area resistance is held. I know you might say, well, Jim, what do you mean it's held? Look at that wick. It just totally crushed your area. It did. It's volatile. These markets are volatile. We have over 1 million traded right now. There's a lot of moving parts here. The opening range is completed right now. Now we're past that first 30 minutes of the open. And I expect to see this kind of volatility and this kind of uncertainty. Just look at the wicks around ever since 840 to 850. Big wick on the top and bottom, big wick on the top and bottom, big wick on the top, big wick on the bottom. If you push these two things together, it's going to look like a doji, by the way, with a big wick on the top and a big wick on the bottom. Big wick on top, big wick on bottom, big wick on top, big wick on top, and big wick on top. Right. So this is a lot of uncertainty, a lot of volatility, a lot of positioning. This isn't a steady trend market right now. It's still trying to find its foothold. And I would argue this will be a great opportunity to sell off of, right? And I know Powell's speaking, so it's going to make it kind of tough. You could use the top of the value area, which was I would tend to do. It would look something like that, or you could use the bottom of the rectangle if you're more aggressive. And again, going into it, got to be careful here. I don't know if we'll get another shot at it, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles in recent memory have traded up here, right? As this tug of war continues, Again, if your entry is the bottom of the rectangle, more aggressive, the further away it is, the less aggressive. Stop, make new highs, I'm out. It's as simple as that. So we'll kind of wait here and see. Maybe this candle here is going to just start driving us all the way back down to the VWAP. I don't know, but I'm okay with this right now. I'd hold this tight for sure. Paulie says U.S. pending home sales month over month, latest release, actual minus 1.0%, forecast minus 0.4%, so a little better than forecast from a negative point of view. Previous minus 0.89%, but still minus, right? The trend's still minus there, which makes sense to me. Paulie, thank you for that. You are the official co-presenter for today. Thank you for that assist. Greatly appreciate it. Carlos says FedEx trading inside its $148 price range after a $43 gap down 2 weeks ago. Another thermometer of the world economy. That's a great observation as well, and that is true. That is definitely true. All right, how much time do we have left here? We have a few more minutes left. Crude oil trades just kind of trickling, right? Oops, that's gold. Hang on a second, everybody. Crude, and I'll take a look at the quote board in general. Let's see where the point of control is right here. Point of control is high. Not a very nice value area. I wouldn't put this in a textbook. I wouldn't talk about it in front of my family. This is just not a pretty look. Point of control, though, is still significant. We keep trying to get back up to that rectangle. We haven't. Maybe this candle will be it. But stop is in a good spot. I want to get that first unit off. This might take a while. If we don't get stopped out, right? This might take a while. So this is going to be an all-day thing. We'll keep an eye on it as we go forward. It's a micro crude oil contract right there. I do want to take a peek. We'll leave this up. Oops, that's the wrong one. Where's the ES? Oops, sorry about that. All right, we'll leave this up right here. Just kind of keep an eye on it, see how it goes. Calendar of events. Let's take a peek at what we're up against. Let me just kind of pop that out, pull it up. This is still September. Remember, end of month, end of quarter portfolio tightening is going to happen next couple of days. Keep that in mind as well. Last day of the month is the 30th. That's Friday. It's a nice clean cut. So you're going to see some abnormal behavior there. And maybe that's explaining some of the volume as well that we're seeing as well. So we already talked about today, right? Fed Palooza, end of the story. We do have the EIA number coming up in about 20 minutes. So pretty tight. Tomorrow, Italian PPI. We have economic sentiment at the European Union. We have German CPI. That'll probably be a big deal. We have jobless claims here in the U.S. Going to be a big deal. We have U.S. GDP. Remember, this is the third estimate, right? This is the third estimate of Q2. So hopefully they're getting better at their estimates, right? You got the advanced, you got the first, you got the second estimate, you got the third estimate. Hopefully they're getting better at estimating what GDP was the second quarter, which ended 3 months ago. Any event, EIA gas report, a bunch of routine treasury stuff, some more Fed people, Fed balance sheets, some more Fed people, and then unemployment in Japan will come out Friday. Again, there's probably less stuff Friday, more Fed speakers on Friday, and then U.S. consumer sentiment. We'll find out what that is here in the U.S. on Friday. So a lot of work to do still, a lot of stuff happening going forward here. Guys, keep that in mind. Guys and gals, people, folks, humans, fellow humans. Where are we at here? 10:09. So we got a few more minutes left here. Let's just look at the quote board and think a little bit. Stock index futures are unchanged right now. They're unched right now, pretty much. Lessons learned, nice area, really nice area of what I'm going to call resistance. The problem we had with participating too soon, right? We had to wait for the opening range, at least in my opinion. If we did try to get short, we would have been sweating it out, because look where my stop is. That stop wouldn't have been there. Because this wick wouldn't exist, right? So if we got short here, or here, right, which looks good on paper, remember, I would have put the stop at the top of the rectangle, and we would have been stopped out and directionally right. So this is what I'm thinking, right? I'm writing this down in my notebook because I'm thinking, I want to learn. I want to keep it accumulating information here. So we were good to wait, because I would have been stopped out. We were good to wait. Now patience is back on the table. As a matter of fact, I would argue, hey, if you wanted to increase your risk exposure a little bit by about $150, and drag your target back to the top, that rectangle tip, that, to me, that's a legitimate idea as well. But I would follow that up with going back to my original stop at the top of the rectangle and saying, okay, this is a target wick, but it's kind of an outlier right now, as we're probably not going to be in a trend day today. It's my guess. I don't know. Could be wrong. All right. Covered a lot of ground. Rest of the board, dollar's looking a little weaker, right? Green here means weaker. Euro is unchanged pretty much. British pound is down a tad. Mexican peso, a lot of zeros. This is pretty much an unchanged, although the dollar's looking a little weaker the more green these are. Swissy, Euro, FX, Japanese yen, Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar, British pound, peso, New Zealand dollar, New Zealand dollar. Nat gas down a little bit, crude oil up a little bit, nothing extraordinary there. Gold is up a lot of bit, $24 on gold. Silver is up a little bit also, trading at 18,665 on silver. I'm going to put a plug in for, if you're buying silver coins at $35 an ounce, why wouldn't you just have a futures position? FYI, throwing it out there. Copper's up. Bonds all the treasury complexes are up in price, down in yield, right? We still have that completely inverted yield curve. 2-year 4.19, 5-year 4.04, 10-year 3.84, 30-year 3.77. This is inverted, the opposite of what it should be. And I know I was lazy. I didn't read that fourth digit, but you get the idea. Bitcoin's unchanged. Ether down a little bit. Grains are all over the place. Wheat is up pretty much, though, $32 on wheat. We'll keep an eye on wheat going forward here. Maybe look at a daily chart at bars closing and kind of get our head around that. All right, folks, covered a lot of ground. Poll question today: an increase in the retail wholesale inventories is good. The supply chain is recovering. 27% said that. It's not good. Consumers are not consuming. 45% said that. And then undecided, too many factors to be sure, 27%. So that's interesting. That's interesting. If you take out the undecided vote, it's almost a 2-to-1 in favor of consumers aren't consuming, right? And this is kind of what the Fed wants. Things slowing down. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But that's a great question. And me and Tom Schneider this morning, early morning, were pondering that very question. I don't know the answer either. Neither does Tom. But it gets us thinking about possibilities of why numbers come out the way they are. And then when we dig down a little bit deeper into the research side of things, things start to materialize. All right, folks, I'm going to get ready to spend some time with Bobby Iacchino here in 15 minutes. This will be streamed live on the YouTube channel. This will be on the events page, right? NinjaTrader.com/events. So feel free to participate in a couple minutes. We got one last question from Rick W. I like it. Is that you might be a new name, Rich? I don't know if I've seen you before. Thank you for being here. What's a high volume amount on the micro Nasdaq? That's a good question. Let's look at the quote board right now. Micro Nasdaq has about 1 million, right? I'm going to argue that's high volume. And a lot of times, in more of a normal market, by the way, the micro Nasdaq has the most volume on all the stock index futures, including the larger size, the classic E-mini S&P. Right now, they're tracking about the same. And it's, this is a very, very liquid market. It's always one of the most liquid markets, the micro Nasdaqs. A lot of people like to trade it, right? And, yeah, we got good volume, right? If we're at 1 million in a day for a micro product, that's really good. We're probably going to track 2 million today or close to it in the micro Nasdaq, depending on how the rest of the day goes. So, when we start getting, from a liquidity point of view, keep in mind the bid-ask spread behavior is different in the micro Nasdaq than in the regular micro E-mini, as an example. But volume is pretty good. So, if we're tracking, less than 200,000 in a day, I'd say that's not that great. But we're not. We're way over that almost every day. Thank you for that question. Awesome. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to get ready for Bobby. And I do want to remind everybody, most importantly, please be safe out there. Be good to each other. Thank you for coming.